Wonderful. Yes. We have a short quote to open this one up, and I'm glad that I open up with the Quran, and I'm glad that I open up with these quotes, because if I were to just come on here in the state that I'm in, and really tell you the truth of how I feel, you probably wouldn't be feeling as good as you're feeling. So I'm glad I have these things to break my mood and my funk, and we really get into the zone and don't let distractions get to us. So this is the quote to start out this section here. Be neither saint nor sophist, but be a man. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually the quote. Be neither saint nor sophist led, but be a man, period. This is Empedocles on Etna, circa 1852, 936. So let's go ahead. You know what I'm going to do right now, unless you know the answer because you're smarter than I am. What is a sophist? Google. What is a sophist? Sophist is a paid teacher of philosophy and rhetoric in ancient Greece, associated in popular thought with moral skepticism and specious reasoning. A person who reasons with clever but fallacious arguments. Okay, so going off of that first definition, a paid teacher of philosophy and rhetoric, associated in popular thought with moral skepticism and spacious reasoning. So don't be sophist-led. Don't be, the person that is sophist-led. It's saying, don't be a saint either. You're not expected to be really saint-like. Yes, you're expected to be perfect, but you can be perfect and be bad. You can be perfect and be awesome and creative and unique in your own way. You don't have to be a saint. You don't have to be abstinent or anything like that, right? So be neither a saint nor a sophist, but what we're asking too, be a man or a woman, right? Be human. Act with human tendencies, because that is what you are acting as right now. Yes, it's great to reach and strive for something that's greater than us, or to believe that you are something greater than you. That's very good. But first you need to take care of this human entity that you are driving in. This is your spacesuit. This is your alien spacesuit, this beautiful human body. This is what you're using right now, so act as a human would act. And how do we show humanity? We show humanity with compassion, we show humanity with love, and we show humanity with understanding. So we have this compassion, love, and understanding, and we're going to see how the men in this story act with compassion, love, and understanding, or lack thereof. So let's just go ahead and get right into it without further procrastination. Jesus is crucified and buried. John chapter 19, verses 17 through 42. Carrying his own cross, he went out to the place of the skull, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on each side, and Jesus in the middle. Pilate had a notice prepared and fastened to the cross. It read, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Many of the Jews read this sign, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. The chief priests of the Jews protested to Pilate, Do not write the King of the Jews, but that is the man claiming to be the King of the Jews. But Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. When the soldiers crucified Jesus, they took his clothes, dividing them into 4 shares, one for each of them, with the undergarment remaining. This garment was seamless, woven in one piece from top to bottom. Let's not tear it, they said to one another. Let's decide by lot who will get it. This happened that the scripture might be fulfilled that said, They divided my clothes among them and cast lots for my garment. So this is what the soldiers did. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother's there, and the disciples whom he loved standing nearby, he said to her, "Woman, here is your son," and to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, this disciple took her into his home. Later, knowing that everything had now been finished, and so the scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, "I am thirsty." A jar of wine vinegar was there, so they soaked a sponge in it, put the sponge on a stalk of the hyssop plant, and lifted it up to Jesus' lips. When he received the drink, Jesus said, "It is finished." With that he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. Now it was the day of preparation, and the next day was to be a special Sabbath. Because the Jewish leaders did not want the bodies left on the crosses during the Sabbath, they asked Pilate to have their legs broken and the bodies be taken down. The soldiers therefore came and broke the legs of the first man who had been crucified with Jesus, and those of the other. But when they came to Jesus, they found that he was already dead. They did not break his legs. Instead, one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, bringing a sudden flow of blood and water. The man who saw it has given testimony, and his testimony is true. He knows that he tells the truth, and he testifies so that you may also believe. These things happened so that the scripture would be fulfilled. Not one of his bones will be broken. And as another scripture writes, they will look on the one they have pierced. Later, Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body of Jesus. Now Joseph was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly, because he feared the Jewish leaders. With Pilate's permission, he came and took the body away. He was accompanied by Nicodemus, the man who had earlier visited Jesus at night. Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it with the spices in strips of linen. This was in accordance with the Jewish burial customs. At the place where Jesus was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb, in which no one has ever been laid, because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there. So, was it clear who is the sophist and who is not the sophist? We have the skeptics, the Jewish leaders, and the Pilate guy. Yes, they are, arguing about what his title is. It's like, you're killing the man, why does it matter anyway? Jewish leaders are saying, oh, he claimed to be a king of the Jews. Jesus never even said he was a king of the Jews. He was the king of all kings. He is the king of all kings. He never said, I'm not the king of the Jews, I'm the king of everybody in the world. But yeah, Goodness gracious. I'm still going to talk about what I'm talking about because I think every time something happens that jumps out at me, I immediately think back to the time. Why is Jesus talking in third person in line 26? I don't mean to laugh, I'm sorry. This is not something to laugh about or whatever. But why is he talking in third person? He's like, really, he is struggling and he's maybe a little bit out of it. But he's like, woman, here is your son. Oh, said to the disciple, here is your mother. Okay, he's talking about the disciple. I'm sorry. See, there were 3 more topics, I believe. 2 more topics, and then we're done with this whole segment of learning. So, for those of you who have stuck by and listened to these and appreciated them, I appreciate you tenfold. So again, have a blessed night, and I will catch you with the next 2 topics, hopefully very soon. Goodbye. Thank you.